Welcome back to English Speaking Corner. This is your quiet, safe space to practice your English without any pressure or stress. It is so good to have you here with us today. I am joined by my friend Mark, and we are going to help you navigate a situation that can be quite scary, even in your own language.
Hello, everyone. I am very happy to be here. You know, Anna, when I think about living in a foreign country, there is one thing that always makes me feel a bit nervous. It is not ordering coffee or asking for directions. It is that moment when something goes wrong in the house and you have to call someone to fix it.
I completely agree, Mark. Those moments are high stakes. You might be worried about the damage to the house, you might be worried about the cost, and most of all, you might be worried that you don't have the right words to explain the problem. Today, we are going to take away that worry. We are going to step into a specific scene and learn exactly what to say when you find a maintenance problem in your home.
That sounds like such a relief. I think many of our listeners have felt that sudden panic. Let's set the scene for them. Imagine it is a Tuesday morning. It is about 8:15. The sun is just starting to come through the window, and you are feeling quite good. You have your bag packed for work or school. You are walking into the kitchen to grab your water bottle before you leave the house.
And then it happens. You take a step and you feel something cold, something wet. You look down and your sock is completely soaked. You have stepped into a puddle of water. You look over at the kitchen sink and you see more water slowly moving across the floor. This is the moment where we often freeze. But today, we are going to learn how to keep moving and how to speak up.
It is the soggy sock moment. It is very frustrating. The first thing we need to do is identify the problem. In English, we have different words for water problems. Anna, what is the most common word we use for water coming out where it should not?
The most important word is leak. A leak. We use this as both a noun and a verb. You can say there is a leak, or you can say the pipe is leaking. Let's practice that word together because it is the foundation of our conversation today. I will say it slowly and then I want you to say it with me. Leak. The pipe is leaking. Mark, how would you describe the difference between a drip and a leak?
That is a great question. I think of a drip as a very small rhythmic sound. Drip, drip, drip. It is annoying, but it is usually not an emergency. A leak is often more serious. A leak means the water is flowing out. If you tell your landlord that the faucet is dripping, they might wait a few days to fix it. But if you say the pipe is leaking, they know they need to act a bit faster.
Exactly. And if we want to go even further, we have the word burst. A burst pipe is a real emergency. That means the pipe has broken completely and water is spraying everywhere. Let's try that word too. Burst. The pipe has burst. If you say that on the phone, the person listening will know that they need to come to your house right now.
Before we go further into our script, I want to remind everyone that if you find these lessons helpful and calming, please do subscribe to the English Speaking Corner and hit the notification bell. We want to make sure you never miss an episode where we build your confidence for real life. It really helps us to keep creating this quiet study space for you.
Thank you, Mark. Now let's go back to our kitchen floor. We have our soaked sock. We have found the leak. It is coming from under the sink. We need to call the landlord or the building manager. Before we dial the number, let's think about how we start the conversation. We want to be polite, but we also want to be clear that there is a problem.
I think a lot of learners start by saying something very simple like, "My house is broken." But that doesn't give the landlord enough information. A better way to start is to identify yourself and then say you are calling about an issue. Anna, how do you usually start a call like this?
I like to use the word issue or problem. For example, I might say, "Hi, this is Anna from apartment 4B. I am calling because there is a bit of an issue in my kitchen." This is a very soft and polite opening. It prepares the landlord for bad news without making them feel attacked. Let's try that phrase. I am calling because there is an issue.
That word issue is so useful. It is a bit more professional than the word problem. It makes you sound very calm and in control. Now, after we say there is an issue, we need to describe it using those words we learned earlier. We need to tell them where the water is and what it is doing.
Let's practice a full sentence. There is a leak under the kitchen sink, and there is a puddle on the floor. Let's break that down into two parts. First, the location. Under the kitchen sink. Mark, why is the word under so important here?
Well, the landlord needs to know where to look. If you just say the kitchen is wet, they don't know if it is the fridge, the dishwasher, or the sink. By saying under the sink, you are pointing them to the exact spot. We use prepositions of place to be specific. Under the sink, behind the toilet, above the washing machine, through the ceiling.
That last one is a scary one. If water is coming through the ceiling, you definitely need to call someone immediately. Let's practice that one just in case. There is water leaking through the ceiling. It is a powerful sentence because it shows that the problem is affecting more than just one room.
So we have called the landlord, we have told them who we are and where the problem is. Now we come to the most difficult part for many people, asking for help. We want to be polite, but we also want them to come quickly. This is what we call polite urgency.
This is where we use our friend the modal verb, specifically the word could. Instead of saying, come to my house now, which sounds like a command, we say, could someone come by to take a look? This is much softer. It sounds like a request, but in the context of a leak, the landlord knows it is something they must do.
I love the phrase, to take a look. It is very natural. It doesn't sound like you are telling them how to do their job. You are just asking them to investigate. Could someone come by to take a look? Let's repeat that a few times. Could someone come by to take a look?
Now, if the water is really flowing and you are worried about the floor getting ruined, you might need to add a time. You can say, is there any way someone could come by today? Or even, is there any way someone could come by this morning? The phrase, is there any way, is a magic key in English. It shows that you understand the person is busy, but you are asking for a special favor because the situation is serious.
Is there any way? It is a very gentle way to push for what you need. Let's try putting it all together. Hi, this is Mark from apartment 2A. I'm calling because there is a bit of an issue in my kitchen. The pipe under the sink is leaking quite badly. Is there any way someone could come by to take a look this morning?
That was perfect, Mark. It was clear, it was polite, and it was urgent. If I were the landlord, I would want to help you right away. Now, let's think about the other side of the conversation. The landlord might ask you some questions. They might ask, how long has it been leaking? Or, is it a lot of water? We need to be ready to answer.
They might also ask if you have turned off the water. That is a very common question in an emergency. Do you know where the water valve is? If you don't know the word valve, you can just say the water switch or the main water control.
That is a great point. If the landlord says, have you turned off the water? And you haven't, you can say, no, I'm not sure where the valve is. Could you tell me where to find it? This turns the conversation into a collaboration. You are working together to save the apartment. Let's take a moment to breathe and think about the vocabulary we have used so far. We have leak, drip, burst, puddle, soaked, issue, under, and valve. These are not just words, they are tools. When you have these tools in your mind, you don't have to search for them while you are looking at a puddle of water. They are ready for you. I want to talk a little bit about the word soaked. In the beginning, we said your sock was soaked. This is a much better word than wet when you are trying to show the landlord how serious the problem is. If I say my carpet is wet, it might mean I spilled a glass of water. If I say my carpet is soaked, it means there is a lot of water and there might be damage.
It is all about the intensity of the words. Wet is level 1, soaked is level 5, flooded is level 10. If you use the right level, you get the right response. Let's practice that word soaked. My kitchen floor is soaked. My socks are soaked. The cabinet under the sink is soaked.
Now, let's imagine the landlord says they cannot come until tomorrow. This is a common problem. You feel a bit defeated, but you can still use your polite English to advocate for yourself. You can say, I'm a bit worried because the water is spreading. I don't want the floor to be damaged. Is there really no way someone can come sooner?
That is a very good phrase. I am a bit worried. It explains your emotion without sounding like you are complaining. It makes the landlord want to reassure you. And by mentioning damage to the floor, you are reminding the landlord that it is in their best interest to fix it now because repairing a floor is very expensive.
Exactly. You are speaking the landlord's language when you talk about damage. Now, let's move into our shadowing section. We are going to do a full dialogue, very slowly. I will be the tenant and Mark will be the landlord. We will go through the call from start to finish. I want our listeners to follow along.
You can just listen the first time, and then we'll do it again with pauses so you can repeat the lines.
I am ready. I will be the busy landlord. I am at another building fixing a door, and my phone rings.
Hello, is this Mr. Henderson?
Yes, this is he. Who is calling?
Hi, Mr. Henderson. This is Anna from apartment 4B. I am so sorry to bother you on a Tuesday morning.
That's okay, Anna. Is everything all right?
Well, I'm calling because there is a bit of an issue in the kitchen. I just found a large puddle under the sink. It looks like the pipe is leaking quite badly.
Oh no, that's not good. Is it a lot of water?
Yes, my kitchen rug is already soaked. I am a bit worried about the wooden floor. Is there any way someone could come by to take a look this morning?
I'm quite busy at the moment, but since it is a leak, I should probably get there as soon as possible. Can you see where the water is coming from exactly?
It seems to be coming from the joint in the pipe right behind the cabinet door. I have put a bucket under it for now, but the bucket is filling up fast.
Okay, you did the right thing. I will try to be there in about 30 minutes. Can you stay there until I arrive?
Yes, I will wait here. Thank you so much for coming so quickly. I really appreciate it.
No problem, Anna. See you soon.
Now, let's look at what happened in that conversation. It was very calm. There was no shouting, there was no panic, but the message was very clear. Mark, what did you notice about the tenant's language?
I noticed that she used a lot of softeners. She said, I am so sorry to bother you. She said, there is a bit of an issue. These words like so sorry and a bit of make the landlord feel respected. When a person feels respected, they are much more likely to say yes to a request.
That is so true. In English, we often use words like bit, slightly, or quite to make our statements feel less aggressive. If I say, the pipe is leaking badly, it sounds very dramatic. But if I say it is leaking quite badly, it sounds like I am giving a calm report of the facts.
Let's try the shadowing now. This is the most important part of the lesson. You need to use your voice. Even if you are just whispering, you need to feel the words in your mouth. We will go through Anna's lines again, and I will leave a space for you to speak.
Let's start with the greeting. Hello, is this Mr. Henderson? Now you try.
Hello, is this Mr. Henderson?
Good. Now the introduction. Hi, this is Anna from apartment 4B. Your turn.
Hi, this is Anna from apartment 4B.
Now the softener. I am so sorry to bother you this morning. You try.
I am so sorry to bother you this morning.
Now the main issue. I'm calling because there is a bit of an issue in the kitchen. Repeat that.
I'm calling because there is a bit of an issue in the kitchen.
Great. Now let's describe the problem. I just found a large puddle under the sink. Your turn.
I just found a large puddle under the sink.
And the action. It looks like the pipe is leaking quite badly. You say it.
It looks like the pipe is leaking quite badly.
Now the urgency. I am a bit worried about the wooden floor. Your turn.
I am a bit worried about the wooden floor.
And the request. Is there any way someone could come by to take a look this morning? Repeat that one. It's a long one. Is there any way someone could come by to take a look this morning?
Is there any way someone could come by to take a look this morning?
Excellent. And finally, the confirmation. Thank you so much for coming so quickly. I really appreciate it. Your turn.
Thank you so much for coming so quickly. I really appreciate it.
You are doing a wonderful job. I can feel your confidence growing. Remember, it is okay if you don't get every word perfectly the first time, but goal is to get used to the rhythm of the language. English is a language of rhythm and melody. I think we should talk a bit more about the prepositions we mentioned earlier. Prepositions like under, behind, and above are very small words, but they change the entire meaning of the sentence. If you say, there is a leak above the sink, the landlord is going to look at the ceiling or the light fixture. If you say there is a leak under the sink, they are going to look at the pipes. Let's do a quick exercise. I will describe a problem, and I want you, the listener, to think of the preposition. If the water is coming from the apartment on the floor above you and it is hitting your head, where is the leak? It is through the ceiling. Let's say that together. The water is leaking through the ceiling.
What if you look at your refrigerator and you see a puddle of water on the floor, but the water is coming from the back of the machine? You would say, the leak is behind the fridge. Let's try that. The leak is behind the fridge.
And what about the bathroom? You look at the toilet and you see water on the floor around the base. You might say there is water around the bottom of the toilet, or there is a leak at the base of the toilet. Mark, which one do you think is more natural?
I think at the base of the toilet sounds very clear, but even if you just say around the toilet, the landlord will understand. The most important thing is to give them a starting point. Now let's imagine the landlord asks you to do something while you wait. They might say, can you put a bucket under the leak?
That is a very common request. A bucket is a deep container for water. If you don't have a bucket, you can use a bowl or a pot from your kitchen. You can tell the landlord, "I don't have a bucket, but I have put a large pot under it." This shows you are being helpful.
Being helpful is a great way to make the landlord want to help you back. Another thing they might ask is, can you mop up the water? To mop up means to clean the water from the floor using a mop or some towels. You can say, I am mopping it up now, but it is coming out faster than I can clean it.
That is a very high-level sentence. It is coming out faster than I can clean it. This really emphasizes the urgency. It tells the landlord that the situation is out of control and they need to hurry. Let's practice that one because it is very useful for any kind of overflow. It is coming out faster than I can clean it.
We have covered a lot today. We have covered the phone call, the vocabulary, the prepositions, and even how to handle the landlord's requests. I hope you are feeling more prepared. Before we finish, I want to talk about what happens when the repair person actually arrives at your door.
That is an important part of the story. When the doorbell rings, you open the door and you want to lead them to the problem. You can simply say, "Hi, thank you for coming. The problem is right here in the kitchen. Follow me."
Then you point to the sink and say, "Here it is. It seems to be dripping from this connection here." Again, we are using very simple, clear English. You don't need to be a plumber to explain where the water is. You just need to point and use your words.
And then the most important phrase for any tenant, will it take long to fix? This is what we all want to know. Are we going to have water again soon? Will I be able to go to work? Let's practice that. Will it take long to fix? The repair person might say, "I need to go to the store to get a part." This is very common. You can then ask, "What time do you think you will be back?" This keeps you in the loop so you are not just waiting and wondering. Knowledge is power. When you know what is happening, you feel much calmer. And that is what this channel is all about. We want you to feel calm and powerful in your English speaking life. Whether you are dealing with a leak, a job interview, or just a conversation with a neighbor, you have the ability to speak clearly and confidently.
I really like the idea of the emergency script. You could even write these phrases down on a piece of paper and keep them in your kitchen drawer. That way, if a leak happens and your heart starts beating fast, you don't have to remember the words. You just open the drawer and read the script.
That is a fantastic tip, Mark. Preparation is the enemy of panic. If you have your script ready, you are in charge of the situation. I want to challenge everyone listening to do one small thing today. Walk into your kitchen or your bathroom. Look at the pipes under the sink. Imagine there is a small drip. Practice saying out loud, "Hi, I'm calling because there's a bit of an issue under the sink." Just that one sentence.
Do it while you are making your tea or coffee. Say it to the mirror. The more you say these words in a calm environment, the easier they will come to you in a stressful one. It is like training for a sport. You practice the movements so that they become automatic.
And remember, we are here with you. If you found this lesson helpful, please do share it with a friend who is also learning English. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe. It tells us that this kind of practical, calm lesson is what you need. We want to grow this corner of the internet into a place where every English learner feels at home.
I've really enjoyed this session, Anna. I feel like even I have learned some better ways to handle a landlord. It's all about that polite urgency.
It really is. It's a social skill as much as a language skill. And you are all doing so well at it. Take a deep breath. You have learned how to handle an emergency today. You have learned new words, you have practiced your pronunciation, and you have built your confidence. That is a lot of work for one day, and you should be proud of yourself.
Absolutely. You are one step closer to the fluency and confidence you desire. Each episode is a new step. We are so glad you chose to take this step with us.
We will be back soon with another lesson to help you navigate your world in English. Until then, keep practicing, keep breathing, and stay calm. Your English is becoming smoother and more confident, one episode at a time.
Goodbye, everyone. Stay dry and keep speaking.
Before you go, let's just do one final review of our key phrases. This is our last little bit of practice for today. I will say the phrase, and I want you to give it everything you've got. Speak it clearly into the room. First phrase, there is a leak under the sink. Go ahead. Excellent. Second phrase, is there any way someone could come by today? Your turn. Beautiful. And the last one, thank you for your help. I really appreciate it. Try that one. Wonderful. You are ready. You are prepared. We will see you in the next episode of English Speaking Corner. Have a lovely, calm day.